Hello everybody and welcome to the review vlog for RWBY Volume 3. Now, I'll try to be as quick as possible because the last recording was 25 minutes long. So let's get right down to it. So, now I feel like this volume was definitely just everything was improved and most of my problems that I had with the previous two volumes were fixed. Very much so, like, they were honestly... The show had a lot of problems, like, the first two volumes, I would feel like the first volume was maybe a 4 out of 10. It was certainly had its great moments, and it had good sides to it, but it had really huge problems. And the second volume definitely did shore up some of those weaknesses, but it still had those problems. Now, on the third volume, I must say, it felt like they knew what they could produce and aimed specifically for that without trying to overreach, which would have led them to actually have a huge problem there. In a way, I feel like the show isn't excellent in many categories. The show has mostly just excellent fighting choreography, and it has excellent character design, and naturally also atmosphere. But yeah. However, I don't feel that it has really excelled in any other category like that. However, it's not bad. It's not like the worst part of it at this moment, in my opinion, is the dialogue, and it's just not. It's good. It's just good. Like, there are some moments where the dialogue still is very cringy and cliche and stereotypical and actually kind of tame and boring, but it isn't bad, and that is the key aspect. The show is just basically put, it's good. It's just good. And though it has very good moments, it has some very huge strengths, which it definitely plays into. I feel like the show doesn't like try to overreach and try to aim for something far greater than it could accomplish. And so, in such way, I do respect their restraint in the design department, that they don't go over the board. So, I must say, on some aspects, the voice acting, they have some actually really good voice actors now on board, and my god, I just absolutely adore the voice acting. Now, there are still some voices which are less than stellar, but the voice acting is definitely in this volume one of the best. Oh my god, I just love Rick. But that's besides the point. And naturally, the animation is also, it has improved. Well, the animation always was kind of good, but now it has improved drastically. They have more lifelike movements, they have more exaggerated motions and emotions. They have more motion to them, while they still keep the impact intact. However, since Monty has passed away, we can see a noticeable difference in the action scenes, with the lack of impact being like, they don't have as much momentum to them, and they don't have such rapid, like, there's a huge difference in the fighting styles and the fighting choreography, which, yeah, rest in peace. But still, the fight scenes are amazing, because they do have a wide variety of weapons and abilities that are very much used to its full strength in this season, especially since it has a fighting. It's basically a fighting tournament, and that allows for them to portray a lot more abilities. And we also in this volume got to see a lot more of the semblances being used, and that I love. It brings more to both the world building and the more of the world building and character building aspect to the show, and I absolutely adore that. It's a good way to implement it into fighting scenes, and I like that. I like it a lot. As well, especially since many of the semblances are something where you can use them outside of combat as well, such as Wise's glyphs, and I forgot her name. The girl who used those illusions, and even Ruby's speed can be used outside, and yeah, it's really cool. And even Blake got to use her shadows for something a bit more different. It's absolutely fantastic. As I said in the previous, just moments ago, the dialogue is still kind of sometimes a bit weak, but it's gotten a lot better, and it's a lot more fluid and dynamic to that whole, well, to the scenes, and that I do appreciate a lot. It makes the scenes a lot more enjoyable. Even though they were already in the previous volumes enjoyable, they were very corny and very cliche, but now they are kind of taking their own shape. But let's address the story finally. Oh yeah, I'm really speeding through this time. So let's address the story. Now, what I love about this season is that it has a sense of finality to it. Now, if this season was to be the end, I would give it something like 7 to 6 out of 10, because it definitely was good. It was really good, but it wasn't stellar in most categories. However, it has a lot of build-up, and in such a way I can definitely see this becoming an 8 out of 10 once we get more volumes. This is very much the middle part of a story, and it's a good middle part, like really good of a middle part, and I greatly enjoyed it, and it has so much foreshadowing that will be, I hope that the foreshadowing will be fulfilled in the future. It also brings up drastic change in the overall theme of the show. For an example, Yang lost her arm. Now there are possibly some prosthetics that could replace that, but it still is very dramatic. And in the final episode we also saw how much it affected her mentally, and that is something I liked. It was very subtle, it was well done, it was well paced, and I just absolutely adored it. And also we got a lot more deaths, which is regrettable because I do like the characters. I even like the random characters that showed some promise but eventually ultimately are now gone. But that doesn't mean like it's bad. This season still had a lot more world building to it, and it shows a lot more promise for the future. Now that is the key aspect I want to show here. This show, this season or volume specifically, has a lot more promise for the future. Now, we enter the painful wait era of waiting. It's going to be about half a year before we get more, unless those chibi shots come up soon, but we have to wait for the volume 4, which is regrettable because we are just getting into the good stuff. Now, I enjoyed this volume, but I would love to see, I just want to see more, because this is the beginning of the end, or the end of the beginning, whichever you wanna say it. And in such a way, I'm excited for the future. Now, I've heard that there are 9 volumes, or that's the plan at the very least. We'll see whether that's fulfilled or not. And in such a way, this is just the first third gone, which is pretty good jumping off point for me, though I will be doing the rest of the episodes and volumes once they do come out. But it's a good point considering that it's the 1/3 part. This is very much feels like a prologue to the actual story, while at the same time having some actually good stories going inside of it, and I do like it. It's a damn good and enjoyable series. Now, while I do have my problems with it, while I do criticize it very harshly, I do feel like it's definitely one of the more entertaining shows, even though it has some really, really bad cliches to it, which can definitely take people out of it. However, I still enjoy it greatly, so without further ado, I thank you all very much for watching. It's been my greatest pleasure. I enjoyed the show greatly, and I'm looking forward for the future volumes. So, I'll see you all in the future. Have a great day and stay awesome. Gunmu out. Thanks for watching.